Present. Alicia Lau. Present. Benedict Gabe.
Here.
Fatima Salinas.
Here.
Grace Hojun Kim. Karthik Prasad.
Here.
Rachel Schuster. Sheena Paul.
Here.
Sumaya Dean.
Here.
Will Morrow.
Here.
Alana Banks.
Here.
Andre Liu.
Here.
Boomer Vicente.
Here.
Diana Nguyen.
Here.
Jason Ting.
Here.
Kathy Tran.
Here.
Rio Cho.
Here.
Sina Rashidi. Wes Adrianson.
Here.
Zoe Bruns.
Here.
Grace Hojun Kim. Sina Rashidi. Alright, next on the agenda is to adopt the agenda as amended. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Senator Liu.
I move to adopt the agenda. As amended.
Any objections? The agenda is adopted with amendments. Moving on to general public comments. We have Marshall Vankov for 2 minutes. Please go up to the stage.
Hi, I'm Harshal and I'm the Director of Residence Hall at the ASUC Senator Arnold Chug. I'm here to talk about cultural appropriation. The University of California, Berkeley prides itself on its diversity. We also pride ourselves on the number of people who come from different countries in the world and bring different cultures to our university. And lastly, but not least, we also pride ourselves on the community that we provide these people, the space that we provide these people, and the inclusiveness that we provide these people. But one thing that comes with problem every Halloween is cultural appropriation, which I essentially define as a dominant group oppressing a group that has been systematically oppressed, using elements and borrowing elements from that group and using them to develop a prejudice against them, or fashionizing them and trivializing them. This is cultural appropriation to me, and we need to work together to resolve that. At the Office of ASUC Senator Arnold Chug, we've been working on 3 very important things. Developing posters to put in residence halls at every floor and even in the general area. This is something that we need to make aware the residents of, because those are the main important people who are affected by this and who take part in this. The second thing that we are working on are getting residents to actually engage in a dialogue through their resident assistants. Since resident assistants, the RAs, are in charge of 2 floors, they facilitate a dialogue which further strikes a conversation amongst all the residents. And the third most important thing that we are working on is spreading awareness of this idea through social media. And I am here to request all senators to use 2 very important methods. The social media, because apparently all of us are very active on social media, and spreading awareness on social media is something that all of us can do. The second very important thing that I want everyone over here as senators to do is to talk to their staff about this concept and ask them to engage in dialogue with their friends and colleagues in their residence halls to talk about this issue and resolve this issue as soon as possible. Because if we want to resolve this issue, we need to work together. Otherwise, we won't do it. Thank you so much.
Next up we have Jack Fukushima.
Hello. Just a few updates from Copper. Last week we finished our pledge drive. We collected around 1,300 in it, and we were attempting to kind of better our name on campus and make sure that everybody kind of knew what we were doing. And I think that last week with this first pledge drive was a great first step in doing so. Also, we just heard an update from one of the statewide coalitions we're working with in support of net metering. We've collected over 75,000 petitions so far that we plan on giving to the CTC and to Governor Jay Brown. And also, I noticed that there's actually an item on your agenda about net metering today. And so thank you very much for that, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you. And finally, we have Professor Alexander Coward.
Well, hi everyone. Gosh, I feel like everybody who's really spoke is very prepared, but I didn't realise I was going to speak minutes. So let's see. I don't really talked about me last week, and I guess most of you have read what I posted on the internet, right? So then you're quite well informed. So I guess that there are three things to say. The first is just I'm just so extraordinarily grateful to you for considering this and taking this up. I've been sort of looking for help since I arrived at Berkeley. I've looked to administrators, I've looked to my colleagues, I've nearly bankrupted myself on legal fees, and it just means a lot to have the student support. And that being said, though, not really question of supporting me. Like anybody, when you blow the whistle, you can't just blow the whistle on other people. You also blow the whistle on yourself. And I'm aware of that. And when you say, hey, everybody, need some flashlights over here, you shine some flashlights over here. You basically shine light shine on you. And I'm not a perfect person or a perfect teacher, but that's not the main point that the flashlights need to be shone on. The real thing that needs to be looked into is what's happening in the way that your education is being protected in the mathematics department at this university is not right. It's not right. It's not right. It needs to change. It needs some very close scrutiny, and you need to get the education not just for your benefit, but for the benefit of all those people that you care about, not just now, but also in the future. So thank you very much.
Motion to extend Dr. Powers' time by 3 minutes.
Any questions? Try to extend by 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I used to debate in college, and now at the full 5 minutes. Wow. Are there any questions? Am I allowed to ask people if there are questions? No. Oh gosh. My God, I think just, huh?
You don't have to use all.
I don't have to. I think I figured out on the way up here. I was going to have 2 minutes, and I said I'm going to say in 2 minutes. So yes, once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, I just can't thank you enough to have what I hope will be support and some advocacy for your education. And I think it's really, really important. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have guest presentations, University Partnership Program. Okay, moving on to UCPD's budget agenda. 5 minutes and 10 minutes for questions.
Hi again, I hope everybody's doing well and that your semester is getting off to a nice start. I know it's been about a month since I was last here, so I'll be looking forward to hearing if you have any questions or what you
top of mind for folks as they're returning to the new school year. So let's see what else. We did also take a report of a robbery up at one of our signposts. I don't know how familiar you all are with that area, but up off of Grizzly Peak, signpost 21. So that's another area to keep in mind, especially during nighttime hours. We always remind folks that to keep their wits about them, make sure they're aware of their surroundings. There isn't very good cell phone reception up there, so a lot of times we get delayed reporting. So that can be a challenge in terms of following up on leads. So not necessarily an area to avoid, just making sure that you're smart about when you're visiting up there, if you are, because I know oftentimes it has some really great views. With that, I will open it up to questions. Alana's word.
Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for sharing your report with us. I was wondering if you're able to share with us if the school will be taking any action in terms of like disciplinary sanctions against that student.
Yes, they will. They have already taken actions to place the graduate student on administrative leave, and as I understand, there will most likely be other actions that will be following that. But those pressing, yes, they were placed on that.
Senator Morrow?
Yeah, I was just wondering what steps UCPD will be taking to make sure Halloween is safe for students.
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, we're going to have increased patrols in the South Campus area. We're pleased to see that the USC game is going to be an earlier kickoff time. Not sure exactly when that is, but I believe it's afternoon, early afternoon. It's been posted officially, but so that will really help our efforts in trying to keep the community safe. As I said, we will have increased patrols in the area, and I can check and see what other measures we might be taking that I'm not aware of, but that's it.
Any other questions? Senator Schuster?
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you for replying so quickly to my email about the business slides that was off.
Oh, yeah. Were you able to get your request responded to?
Yes,
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, it was a learning process for me as well. I didn't realize what role our folks played in that, so I'm happy to hear that we're working with you, and I trust other folks at the university to take those issues for us.
thank you.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sergeant Sabrina.
Thank you, guys.
Moving on to student union, business, and finance.
Hi everyone. Glad to be back. I miss all of you. And I'm happy that you'll be in the new space next week. Hopefully the sound will be better in the new session. Hope the view will be better too. Okay, so I just have some quick updates. So for business and finance area, we had one personnel change. Hans Whitehart, who was previously in the guest services area, has moved over to the business and finance area as the associate director for business and client relations. And he actually is sitting in our space in the treehouse, which is right over here. Secondly, the cash office in Eshelman is open. We're ready to start taking all the requests, and there's actually a nice big window, 10 to 5. Students can pick up their funds. We're still having a couple issues with technology, so we won't be able to do checks till next week. but if they were printed before the move, they're already being picked up from the window. Hopefully, after we get our technology issues, we'll be able to print checks starting next week. Thirdly, so the AUC actually gets audited once a year per your request. So we're still looking for a location for the auditors, but they'll be coming in after Thanksgiving to do that. Fourthly, the credit card program, finally ready to pilot. I have personally activated my card for the program, so I know that we will be starting in November for sure. And then the procedures have been sent out to those groups who are part of the pilot program, and we'll see how that goes. And then finally, signatures. So as some of you, or all of you may already know, our Executive Director, Kelsey Finn, for the Student Union is leaving. Her last day is this Friday. So for checks, actually your checks get signed by the AUC and GA students. And usually the Executive Director signs as an emergency, but as the fifth signer. So for the period while we're doing the national search for a new Executive Director, Joseph Greenwell will be the fifth signer as the interim Executive Director of the Student Union. So those are my updates. We'll come to take questions here. I know you have a packed schedule, so we can also take questions off the floor.
Questions? Senator Prasad?
Do you have any finances regarding the vendors initially?
I'm not exactly sure. You mean like their finance positions?
Oh, sorry, for the question. Do you have any updated revenues information on how much revenue we're getting from the student union building?
So primarily my position is more on the ASUC side. I'm not too much on the vendor side, but I can definitely relay that back to Jesse. Get back to you.
To answer your question, Senator Prasad, I was just asking Joe Wilson and additional comptrollers when they come in from the student union board representatives. They did have a business and operations meeting, and they do go over the numbers for student union. Any other questions? Great.
Thank you all.
So it looks like University Partnership Program did not tell me, but they have started last week, so you could expect VP and Solid Bolt to come in next week. And now we will be moving on to executive officer reports. So I'll forget President Dutton.
Hello everyone. So as Ross said, we are putting together the search committee to replace Kelsey as executive director, and so I will be co-chairing the committee with Tom Delegate, who is the Career Center director. So we'll be doing that, and also representatives from the university, there's also reps from the student union board students, as well as student union staff members. So it's not a committee, it's represented. So fairly represented. And then the MLK applications are complete, and so we will be sending them out live either tomorrow or on Friday. So look out for that and spread it out to your communities who are looking for space. Also, the first campus climate speaker is reserved, and so the contract is signed, so I won't release the date. Maybe for the general, but it'll be on December 2nd, so just reserve the date, and then I'll let you all know the time and the speaker once contracts are signed. CACSIF is officially at full throttle. We just went over policy to make sure that all the CACSIFs were following ECOP regulations for student fees. So we'll be able to, hopefully, next month go over actual applications for the one-time revenue. And also remember that if anyone has recurring CACSIFs that they'd like to apply for, those deadlines are in January. So it's not too late. Especially if they want year-to-year funding, as well as, so I know that EPP wasn't present, and there's a lot of this happening with EPP that I'm not lost in a lot of conversations happening with making a lot of things on campus public and private partnerships. So just be aware of that, few references. And also I just want to quickly discuss the veto and just say that the purposes for the veto was purely because we as execs did not do our job on the city, sending it to the right committee, and did not do our job as far as like responding and putting our effort forward. And so for those purposes, that's why it was vetoed. It had nothing to do with the content of the bill, and so that is why it's back on the Senate floor for you all to discuss. Any questions?
Senator Anderson?
Can you explain the timeline for the MLK basement applications?
Yeah. So from the date of release, we're going to allow 1 month for people to make their proposals. And the way it's structured right now is basically what is the space look like at county square village? Do you want in-person group, as well as what's your plan for the space? And so are you able to maintain the space? Are you able to pull out the space for the years for the most across campus, things like that. And so once the month is over, we would then as a committee review the applications and we would have you release our suggestions to all of the applicants. We're looking forward to the beginning of spring semester, and then we'll make sure that everyone know their allocations, I would say by the end of January, and then proceed from there with like making sure those who want it have 2 weeks to accept or deny or appeal, whatever the process. We haven't quite figured out whether or not we're going to allow for this process, but allow at least 2 weeks for that at minimum, and then from there just kind of get into the writing, so then we can work out the finances. Yeah.
So in terms of like funding for those projects, how will you be asking groups to like show proof that they can fund this?
So we know that the charge we're asking is not reasonable for student groups or for groups that are self-sustainable, and so we have a so we're going to make exceptions to student orgs and student spaces that cannot financially, but we're not going to like assume that on the intention. We don't want departments to be like, oh well, we also don't have money for the space either, so please make exceptions to us too. So we have a question on there that will kind of allow us to see how people plan on spending their money and if they even have money to spend, and then based on that we're going to go off of seeing how much money we can allow for spaces to kind of have a discount in a lot of places. We don't actually have to have those funds because we're just going to make that more of a student union budget with a certain amount of money that's designed to maintain that space on our end versus putting it on theirs. And so that's going to be more so whether or not they're able to financially sustain the space will not be a number one criteria when it comes to student groups as much as it will be for departments. Does that make sense?
Any other questions? Thank you, President Deschamps. Moving on to academic affairs vice president. Moving on to external affairs vice president. Me.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all again. So, this week, we actually have a lot of things going on. There's going to be a meeting that my office will be attending with Tony Thurman and Lonnie Hancock, their state representatives. That's going to be on Friday. There's some housing items that are going to be discussed in City Council, items 17, 23, and 33. The details of it are specified in the bill that you all hopefully will pass today in Senate. And so we will be going, the EAP office will be going to the City Council meeting next Tuesday in regards to that bill and those items. In terms of SOC, as you know, I've been saying every single week, it's been going great. The applications for caucus, workshops, and delegation have now closed, and we will be releasing results on Friday for what workshops we can fit in, and the caucuses, performances, etc. And so that's going great. The conference is in 2 weeks, so it's really exciting, and I'm very, very excited for this huge opportunity for our campus. We've also got a federal advocacy visit next week that representatives from our office will be going to. UCSA president will also be going to that visit as well. So we've got a lot of lobbying things scheduled, and we're keeping our eyes out for that. In terms of more local stuff, there is a meeting in Richmond tomorrow that I will be attending. It's a working group meeting. Once again, if any of you all are interested in going, just text me. Like, you can just literally just text me, and we can all go to the meeting. We've got student labor committee folks coming with us as well, so we're trying to bring in students to make sure that they are also part of those conversations. There's also going to be a new city, so the city has a new city manager, and we also have a meeting with them tomorrow, and we'll be discussing a lot of the housing items and other things that have come up with them. And that's pretty much it. Just a lot of meetings. Any questions?
Senator Morrow.
Hi, Miriam. So I just wanted to say thank you for drafting SR 26 about the group living accommodations. I was noticing the co-sponsors and whatnot on there, and I was noticing that none of the senators who have been actively working on this or who attended the meeting are co-sponsors. So I was just, because I know a lot of this issue has had some miscommunication and whatnot, I would love if you could reach out to us this next week before it hits committee floor so we can go about that.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I think it goes both ways as well. If you want to co-sponsor, then please let me know, and we'll be sure to put you on that. In terms of, that's something I forgot to talk about. In terms of GLA, like all the stuff that's been going on, I already said what I wanted to say in committee, but I do want to reemphasize that I saw Karthik's email today, and I'm very ready to work with you in terms of the amendments. And I'm really looking forward to making sure that that bill gets passed after this one that's going to committee gets through as well. So I don't want anybody to feel like they can't approach the office in terms of this topic at all. Please, we will do our best to reach out. Let's start our new slate. We will try our best to reach out, and you all please try to reach out as well. So I really look forward to having a productive, cooperative bill. 2 bills being passed in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mary.
Awesome. Have a good night.
Next up, we have Academic Affairs Vice President, Wilson Hu.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well. This week, I have a sleep initiative meeting with UHS, and we came up with a marketing campaign for rest zones. We focus heavily on branding strategies for spaces with a grand opening type event, as well as customized eye masks and earplugs, and logos on rest furniture. My rest director is putting together pictures of the various spaces where nap zones will exist, and it's for him. I also had a meeting with the decal board president to establish guidelines for expectations of them as an ASUC commission, and they want to add the website onto the ASUC.org website as decal.asUC.org, which will probably be happening next semester. I also met with the Berkeley Student Foundation Board of Directors, and we recently released applications for transfer students. So if you have any friends that are transfers or are transfers yourselves, please apply to this. And help us publicize this, please. I think posting on the CASA pages and the transfer pages has helped so far. We increased the number of grants and scholarship applications because of the Cali class. There's 58 applications for the textbook scholarship, 8 for OSRA, and 0 for RISE. So we really need to bump up the numbers for RISE. Please market this if you can. We have 22 applications for AOF. 22 approved, 3 denied, 18 unapproved. There's $5,515 left in that. ICF, we have 1 approved, 3 unapproved, and $2,000 left. GOF, we have 1 approved, 1 approved, 1 denied, and $4,400 left. You can read the rest of this on my report. We are also pushing back our trigger warning event just because we want more time for that sensitive topic, and also working with more stakeholders so we can include more people in it. We are finalizing and marketing for charges in the library. We're finalizing marketing for charges in the library. We policy op-ed, which we sent on Saturday, but won't be published until this Friday, so look out for that, and please share if you can. We also are meeting with Senator Singh as well as Senator Lau about the International Career Fair, and Sid Fury, who's in the back, shout out. And scholarships close October 26th. Outside of these announcements, I also wanted to bring up something that my sorority president brought up to us about how affiliated fraternities have been suspected of grouping girls and how IFC has not released these names. So I'm actually really sick of having Pan-Atlantic women having to watch their drinks and other things, and I would really encourage the IFC senators to take action on this and prioritize this issue. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Melissa. Thank you.
Next up, we have student advocate Leah Rom.
Good evening, everyone. We have 46 open cases right now, 18 in academic, 16 in conduct, 8 in financial aid, and 4 in grievance, which brings our semester total to 71. We had our regular standing meeting with the Office for the Prevention of Harassment and Discrimination, our Title IX office this Monday, just to chat a little bit about the new sexual violence, sexual harassment policy that's at Berkeley. We also talked about the adjudication model, which I'll get to in a minute, a little bit, and then Title IX actually came in and trained our grievance and conduct folks on Monday night just about the Title IX process, what OPHT handles outside of sexual violence and sexual harassment cases, just general info for our office and to get an introduction, so that was really exciting. I think that's the first such training we've done ever, so it was a good collaboration. On Friday, my conduct director, a conduct caseworker, and I met with Dean Greenwell just to talk a little bit preliminarily about issues we see with the conduct process, both for sexual violence and sexual harassment cases, which are adjudicated differently than regular conduct cases, which is everything else. And so just a preliminary conversation moving forward into the next semester as we see some possible changes. My chief of staff and the director of our grievance division met with the new director of the Sexual Assault Commission. So that was a great introduction for us to have, and we're going to see, in what ways we can support their work in the semester and onward. We're currently working on our public comment to the new sexual violence, or to the proposed new sexual violence, sexual harassment policy. That's in its draft stages right now, so we're going to be completing my draft on Sunday, and I'll have that available either Sunday night or Monday night. So that's due next Friday, but I do want to give y'all a chance to read it and to sign on if you're interested in supporting what we're saying to OPHD. But that being said, it's going to be a really fast turnaround, so I'm going to need that input and those comments and those, signing on, or co-signs, I guess, by like Wednesday or Thursday next week, and I will be emailing that to you all and making sure that you all have access to it. But just some food for thought right now. There's a lot of rhetorical issues we see with it. One such example is that they kind of define some acts as, quote, more or, quote, less serious. We want to bring that to their attention as being really an appropriate way to describe various actions, even if they do fall on different spectrums of, punishment or egregiousness. We got some key definitions such as abuse and trauma-informed, which we're really concerned about because those definitions were in the previous iteration of the model. There's still no explicit codification of both complainants and respondents' rights not to be part of an investigation should they choose not to, which is more of an issue for complainants. We want them to know that they don't have to participate if they don't want to, since it is a very difficult process. We want to make sure that witnesses are made aware of their rights because witnesses have rights too. And we, actually no, I think that's about it of the major things. And again, I'll send that all to you all as soon as we have that done. I apologize if it is on a Sunday night, at least in the beginning we have a lot less time this time than we did the last time we had a policy to comment on. Some exciting movement at the UC level. The new investigation, adjudication, and sanctioning model was sent out to all chancellors on Monday. So I'm really excited to get to a point where we can come in and talk about it and let you all know what we think. It's going to be very interesting, and I really am excited to talk about it once the time comes. And finally, today, my chief of staff and I and a member of our children's division met with Ben Schneider of the Violence Prevention Cooperative. We're going to be a part of that this semester. One of our caseworkers will be attending since neither my chief nor I can make it due to scheduling conflicts. But I was asked to kind of see if anyone in Senate or any of your staff were interested. And so the Violence Prevention Cooperative last year worked a lot on sexual violence prevention, but this year is trying to look at bias-related violence generally. And so that goes beyond gender-based violence, that goes into things like microaggressions, that goes into empowering students to feel like they can intervene in an uncomfortable situation when they feel like they've experienced some sort of either aggression towards themselves or towards someone else. It would be fantastic to have more folks. Something that was mentioned was that everyone so far that's a student identifies as a woman, and so they're trying to bring in a little bit more diversity and see if there are any male-identifying voices that want to join the conversation. So come talk the meetings are Thursday from 3 to 4 every other week. So take that into account. Unfortunately, that is not the easiest time. I need like 10 seconds. Yeah, just let me know if you're interested in lots of these things.
Questions? Thank you, Leila. Moving on to my report, I have a couple of quick announcements. Udonis covered a lot of it because we just had a lot of committee meetings that work together. So Student Union Board meeting, we had an emergency meeting that was called yesterday. We did agree to have Dean Joseph Greenwell as our interim director. If you have any questions about that, please talk to me offline today, or send me an email to explain that to you. We did discuss, in addition to Dean Greenwell being the interim director, the makeup of the search committee, and making sure that we did have a student representative as the co-chair of the search committee. In addition to that, we went through tax proposals of our initial proposals. We actually went through 170 pages of tax proposals, and we'll be going through that for the next about a month and a half as well. MLK applications were released, as Udonis mentioned as well. So again, if questions, you can follow up with me on that. I would also like to mention that I have told you at every Senate meeting when the next MLK meeting is going to be. And if you recall, there was a lot of communication and questions about having a senator representative on the MLK committee, but there's not been a single person outside of the committee that has come to the committee. Keep that in mind, please. Monday, October 26th, from 1 to 2 p.m., 540 Eshelman will be the next MLK meeting. Finally, access forms. A lot of you have been asking me. I'm very, very excited to say that we will be releasing them tomorrow morning. So I will send you all a link. Please fill it out. You just need to check your boxes, write down your student ID number and your structure number on the back, and you should have that hopefully within a week or so. That does have to go through UCPD's process. Finally, next meeting will be at Senate Chamber, so that's super exciting. We will be doing our statement association that should have happened in the beginning of the semester, but we were waiting for Eshelman to open, so that will be next meeting. We also have a lot of meetings, presentations that will be backed up into next meeting, so that is a heads up to all you senators. Finish your homework on Tuesday. And finally, one last thing is Rosemary Ray. She'll either be coming in next week or the following week. Thank you to Sheena and Jason Payne, whoever has most questions regarding CFO questions. If you have anything to add, please send me an email so I can let her know what to present to all of you when that comes in. Questions? Senator Prasad.
Thank you for the update. Will the new committee meetings next week be in the new building?
I have to ask. Oh no, sorry. In order for to change any location, that must be done a week ahead when you make your agendas, and because that wasn't done a week ahead, that will be in the original rooms. But starting after that, it will definitely be in the new rooms. So following this Monday will be in the original location. Senator Salinas.
Congratulations for being on Shark Tank. Hey, Sarah, do you offer decade or decade stand?
I'm trying to interview everybody up here later. We're ready. Right, follow me. Any other questions? What's comments? Awesome. Moving on to ASUC official reports. First up, we have Chief Communications Officer, Chief of Staff, Dana.
Oh, yes.
Hi, I'm philanthropy. So business card request form is now closed. You're going to order them soon. Second newsletter was sent out on Monday. You're working on having an outreach event in November, and you will give more details once it's sorted out. October is almost over, so each sender needs to make sure that they complete a total of 6 outreach hours by the end of the month. The design team is working on creating branding for Sexual Assault Commission, and then we are working on getting a better live stream set up for the new Senate chambers. Senator Banks?
Are we going to get sweaters?
I'll get back to you on that one. So Senator Banks, last year what happened is the senators lobbied the CCO to get that done, and the thing was like, that is something that you want, start the conversation now. What's easier? Any other questions? Thank you. The Chief Finance Officer, Attorney Bill, will be presented next week. Unfortunately, he is sick. We'll move to Student Union Board Representative Sean Contreras.
So next week is the Board of Directors meeting for the Student Union. We'll be, I believe we're meeting in the ASUC chambers. Yes, that is correct. We are meeting in the ASUC chambers. It is next week on Tuesday, I believe. No, Wednesday, sorry, 12 to 2, Senate chambers. So you are welcome to attend. The agenda hasn't been sent out yet, but once it is, we'll report it. Last week I attended the Operations Facilities and Planning Subcommittee for the Board of Directors. We heard a couple of updates from our Director of Operations. You might have heard of this before, but campus did approach us about possibly holding classroom, or using volleyball as classroom space while Wheeler undergoes renovations and stuff for the 16-17 school year. So we're still working out the MOU about what that looks like. There's a draft that is in progress. We're still working on that as of right now. Additionally, we're also working on some more building policy procedures regarding the new space. Particularly the one that was introduced last committee meeting dealt with reserving spaces and sort of placing limits on the amount of times an organization or student group particularly can reserve a space. We had a couple of concerns about placing limits. Obviously, we understood the importance of student groups having access to our different spaces, both here and also in Poly and all the other places. So we're still working on that. The reason this policy is being crafted right now is because there's concerns that popped up a year ago, 2 years ago, about how maybe 1 or 2 student groups would reserve an ahead every single Friday from like 9 until whenever, which is very restrictive, which was very hard for student groups to plan. Because once they reserve a space, the space is gone for the rest of the semester. So we're trying to rework that policy, and once it's better written, we'll report back to you on that. If you are interested, if you want some input on that, please reach out to me. I sit on that committee, so please give me your ideas about how to better address reservation policies for student groups for large event spaces like Hall and Ballroom, and ahead until in the baby room. That's generally it. in terms of updates. Obviously, we're still getting feedback about our relations with Chartwells and with the bookstore to sort of address Karthik's question. I don't have those figures on me right now about revenues from our vendors, but we will reach out and we'll forward it out to the Senate this year. But they did sound promising. I will say that.
Any questions? No, we're quiet today. Thank you. Looks like our chief officers are already late today. Moving on to Senate committee reports. First up, we have Governance and Internal Affairs Committee Chair Morrow.
So we finished up our interviews and nominating for Judicial Council. This is going to go on to the consent calendar next week. We nominated 3 undergraduate representatives for immediate consideration: Stanley Ham, Alexander Goldman, and Eric Wilcox, as well as a undergraduate representative for consideration for nomination in December when a current member graduates, and that's Matthew Chang. And we finally nominated Andrew Schwartz as the graduate representative to the Judicial Council. Additionally, we passed through committee SR 18, the Student Housing Committee. I thought that was going to external, but it looks like it's going on the consent calendar. I got passed through by any of this consent. SR 18, the ASUC Student Housing Committee. It's G.
Thank you, Senator Morrow. Any questions? Moving on to External and Universities Affairs Committee Chair Banks.
Hello. So we passed SR 15, resolution minimum wage. Also, we passed the SR 15. We passed SR 17, the security rulings, and then also the International Student Committee failed. Sorry, y'all. And we tabled it for January.
Questions? Senator Salinas?
Do you know why the International Committee failed? Yeah, so there was a lot of concern about all the people in there not being represented. So specifically, like my community, Horns of Africa, and this African Student Association were involved in that. And yeah, me and Jason are going to talk about it offline. But that's basically what.
Thank you. Moving on to Finance Committee Chair Dean.
We discussed SR 22 ASUC Enterprises and Strategic Planning Committee with Attorney General Clement, particularly amendments to that bill. And we are going to, I know it's a little late, but have a 5-corner retreat this Friday. So if any of y'all have any topics that you think we should cover, please talk to offline. Thank you.
Any questions? Moving on to Chief Technology Officer report.
Wait, no, not yet.
Moving on to Attorney General Alan Clement.
Good evening. You all are doing really quickly today. That's good for you all. So for the past 2 weeks, I've worked on several exciting projects. Some I mentioned one of the enterprises and long-term strategic planning committee. That body has done a lot of the work between my office, CFO's office, and the EVP's office. We actually had kind of a background, just back-end work at the end of the day. So we're really excited to move forward with this committee to make sure that those projects are overseen and that there's kind of a long-term plan for them. On Monday, you might see a bill coming from my office and the EVP's office about some creative ways to get students to go to Cal Lodge. So more on that next week. I also had the first official elections council meeting today. You all should have gotten the public notice on it. So our new elections council chair now said start working. Some of the things we talked about is our tabulations process, software use for that. So this year we plan to put an RFP out to see if there's other companies other than the Student Affairs IP to do the tabulations for cheaper, and hopefully we can save money with that. We also talked about ways to make elections just marketed better for students and just start recruiting staff for elections council. Other projects my office is working on is bylaws for the student union board of directors. So today I went to the GovCon meeting for the student union board, and we discussed some of these issues with the board chair, Vanya, and some of the other members. And that's just to hold the student union board more accountable. I'm also working with Becca in the Lead Center to kind of clarify the distinction between ASUC programs and ASUC-sponsored organizations. We might be coming to GovCon next week, kind of with a discussion item for that. And lastly, we've also just been working on general bylaws, kind of sweeping through the entire, all 300 pages, trying to find things to improve. A lot of improvements can be done to the finance bylaws, but there's just a multitude of other things that come up that we see that we can verify. So yeah, so those describe the general projects I worked on in the past 2 weeks. Do you all have any questions?
Senator Prasad.
Thank you for coming in. So my question is, could you go back to the tabulator? Is there a reason why we're redeveloping it, or?
We're not necessarily redeveloping it. So there's two pieces of software related to the tabulator. The first one is the polling website you see when you log on, and then we get that data from the university and tabulate it ourselves. The tabulator part we have is good. It's not great. It often runs into errors, and in the past we've had to hire technicians to run it. And they get considerable stipends, and we also make a large payment to the university, a couple of $1,000. So we're just looking if we can request, just look what the market is like for those types of services. Our main goal is to reduce the wait time, so right now tabulations is the week after. And I talked to many candidates and party chairs, and all have expressed to me that they wish to see that be sooner, earlier in the week, and just to reduce the cost so that our overhead is low.
Senator Sharp.
So about the tabulator, I've actually looked at the code myself. Too bad, but it's like it's buttons, so it's like you can't press any buttons.
Yeah, so
have you found the errors with the data itself, or is it all issues with running it and being able to show that it's working?
So I'm not extremely versed with the technical back end of it, but from what I've heard, the main issue is when we get the raw data from the university, converting that data into tabulator, the data our tabulator can read is a process, and we also have to implement like manual votes because some people vote on paper, they can't log into their account. So yeah, so we're just going to do a comprehensive overview. I don't think there's anything wrong with our current tabulator, but we could find something that's quicker and cheaper.
Any other questions? Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Moving on to Chief Technology Officer, Miguel Perdón.
Hello, people.
ASUC Mobile should be launching a new release in the next few weeks. We expect that release to have some cool things like late night and a lot of bug fixes across all. We spent most of the summer fixing a lot of bugs, and I think now that bug release is going to come out, and I'm pretty excited for that. I have a developing version on my phone, and I'm having fun with it, so I hope all of you folks will be able to have the same experience. Alex Kang is now fully the chief engineer of ASUC Mobile. He's operating on his own, and we had a month-long transition process. He's doing pretty well. And I'm checking in with him every week, of course. Berkeley Time is trying to work with the SIS project to help integrate the new televerse with the new televerse. There's a new televerse coming out next spring, so we can use the new televerse for spring 2016. And we're trying to see if we can assist with that by being a good course catalog for students to use from the ASUC. So like last time, I have another troubling matter I wanted to talk about, which is independent of some of the technology stuff that we're doing. So I'd like to comment on an issue that has distracted, I think, this association from the goal of serving the students of this university. And due to the magnitude of some of the recent events that have happened, I think it is necessary for higher-ranking officials to weigh in on the events of the past few weeks. And I do want to take a second to remind all of you that this association is called the Associated Students of the University of California. Students being the operative word, in my opinion. It's a very powerful name because it means that in order to represent the students, you have to be a student. It's pretty, kind of self-explanatory, but that's actually the power behind it. And in my opinion, I think if actions are taken or things are done that compromise our ability to be students while in the association, then, if we're trying to serve students and we lose our studentness, then what's the point of it all? What's the point of doing it at all? If we're going to lose what makes us actually care about our university. So I wanted to be recognize that it is absolutely essential that we together acknowledge the fact that as students of one of the most forward-thinking institutions in the world, we cannot compromise our obligations as students for the good of not only ourselves, but the good of our state, our nation, and even the world, because Berkeley has a huge impact across the world. And actions that jeopardize this ideal for anyone, whether it be an intern or the president, violate every morsel of what this association actually stands for, in my opinion. So I think that's a quick reminder of what we actually stand for. And I'm being very vague intentionally here, but I just wanted to make that very clear. Because if we can't understand that, we've already failed. It's October, and we've already failed. So just take that to heart, understand that, and yeah, that's what I want to say about that. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks, folks.
Questions? Senator Cho?
Thanks for coming in here. Do you have any updates on what the next steps for ASUC Mobile and Berkeley Time will be in terms of new features, etc.?
Yeah, I can give a little bit of insight to that. So this new release is gonna have late night bug fixes, as I said. What we're working on right now is trying to do air transit live. So having the location of the buses actually on the phone, so you can see the buses' locations. We actually had a conversation today with the Bear Transit folks, and they're actually willing to give us some space on their buses for us to put advertisements on there. People use ASUC Mobile to use the buses. So we're working with them to do that. It's kind of hard to work with admin sometimes, but that kind of is something that's pervasive across all of our work. But I think this one will turn out to be pretty good. As for the far future, I don't know as much about that, or I know, but I don't know how technically feasible that is yet. We have ideas, and so I'm not going to be commenting on that.
questions? Thank you, Mayor.
Cool. I will sit now.
3 minutes.
So, a couple weeks ago, like after the last Senate meeting on Friday, Mia asked me to sing the Pokemon theme song. And so I will be singing that song. And she just Facebook messaged me and says that she rescinded her thing. And I was like, I practiced it like all week just for you people. And literally, she's like, oh, I rescinded my outfit. Like, what? Come on, that's not fair. So this one's a good one to sing along with. So I have the lyrics here. I messed up my parts. Alright, ready?
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
I want to captain it.
The train is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon in to understand power that's inside. A Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Ooh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. A Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Our courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach you. A Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all.
Moving on to what's comment on consent calendar. We have a public comment. Moving on to consent calendar. Are there any items that need to be pulled? Senator Trump.
I move to pull SR 21 from the consent calendar.
Are there any other items that need to be pulled? Right. I have some things to pull. I would like to pull SR 18. And I would like to amend the agenda so that it says the nomination of West Adrianson to the Coffee Consolidation Working Group and nomination of Raj Bahar Ava to the Vacant Consolidation Working Group. That was a mistake on my part. Are there any other items that need to be pulled? The consent calendar passes. Moving on to immediate consideration. We have SR 21 and SR 12. So we will give the floor to SR 12, ASUC Guard Affordability and Accessibility Working Group, with author Senator Wilson.
Sorry, point of inquiry.
Sorry?
So what are we doing? Are we just discussing it?
So we're moving on to the immediate consideration of the veto that occurred. So because it was you are offering having the time to talk, and then after that it will go to the person that's inserted, which is presidential. Okay. And then we will open it up to discussion.
Cool. So I don't have much else to say. I think I spoke a lot already last time, but I just wanted to clarify a few things. First of all, the graduate assembly ABC did co-sponsor this bill, knowing that there was no co-chair for the graduate assembly, and she was completely happy with having a
for it to be constitutional. So that was like the one thing that's kind of like non-negotiable on this. The other two are negotiable, and that's why it's back for you all to decide. And so the two that are negotiable is whether or not you all decide to have the GA or the ASUC be co-chairs, only because they have the office as a whole has had relationships for many, many years, and so it just seems as though usually it's the role of execs to take on those larger conversations, and so that is more for you all to have that conversation. The only thing that I think that needs to happen is who all is going to be voting the non-voting members, because that later on will be disputed. And so usually when we make up the composition of committees, you need to lay out who you think will be voting the non-voting members, and so usually I recommend that students study on those that are voting. Consistent issues. So like I said, this is up for you all to discuss. But the main point of the weekend was that we did not go to XCOM, and so that's the only thing that really has to happen. Because that was all artifacts, and so for that, sorry for all this confusion. But yeah. Questions or comments? Senator Rose. Any other questions or comments? Senator Smith.
So I just want to say, like, I don't want to take time and energy to keep on going back and forth with this bill, but I do want to say, Senator Moon, thank you so much for being so committed with your bill, and we really do appreciate you taking care of that.
Senator Burns.
So there are no comments. I don't know how much time we do want to spend talking on the floor, but if it does need like XCOM, and those are two like something very simple items that can be discussed in XCOM, I would motion to send it to XCOM.
Is there a second? Second. Senator Gerlin.
So I want to move to table this bill indefinitely.
Senator Gerlin, would you like to withdraw your motion? Is there a second for Senator Rue's motion?
Second.
Are there any objections? SR 12 has been tabled indefinitely. Postponed indefinitely. Moving on, I would like to make a clarification. I misspoke, and SR 18 was incorrectly placed on the consent calendar, and so that will continue to go on to ECOM as was originally planned. And so that is the ASUC student housing bill. Moving on to the ratification of SR 21 in support of Dr. Alexander Coward, I will give the floor to Senator Chubb, who pulled it.
Hi, so I would like to move to amend the bill because I personally feel uncomfortable with the way that the bill is currently written. In regards to Measure 1E of the bill states and calls for the ask the university to stop the systematic removal of the quote-unquote best teachers on campus. This particular line makes me feel comfortable due to the fact that the teachers that are considered the best teachers on campus are so often white, male, privileged professors with very little recognition given to teachers of color or to women-identified teachers, and that's not okay with me. Also, I am not okay with the fact that Professor Coward has not been in support of student unions in the past, yet is now asking for students to advocate on his behalf. So I would like to completely change that part of the bill and ask for rather the ASUC to pressure to bring transparency on behalf of the hiring and firing methods of professors instead of calling for the quote-unquote stopping the removal of the best teachers. Also, in regards to 1F of the bill, I'd like to completely remove that part of the bill. It says to reinstate Coward. For the reasons I mentioned previously, I would not like to support reinstating him. I think that we should call for transparency in why he was fired, but not to reinstate him completely. Also, in regards to Measure 2, it demands and requests the AAVP, EVP, and Office of the President to attend further meetings, more so than they already attend, on behalf of supporting Coward, and I think that that demand is just excessive and unreasonable, so I'd like to completely remove that measure.
Thank you, Senator Chubb. That's just important about my Senate Vice Chair and Attorney General that I did not unratify the bill in order for us to amend it. So, first of all, I would like to make the motion. I would like to move to unratify this bill so that we can make amendments on it. Is there a second? Any objections?
the bill is not present, so I think it'd be very, I'd love to have a discussion, just not when the author is present. Or would people be willing to table it for a week?
The issue is that the bill was illegally passed last week because it didn't wait for a week. So right now, I guess the motion that was before the Senate right now was to ratify the bill. If the Senate does not ratify the bill, then it's still, I guess, kind of in Senate. So if you vote to not ratify it, then you can go back and amend it, or table it, or, yeah. That's kind of confusing.
Are there any other discussion points? Senator Morrow? Discussions on the unratifying.
Yeah, just the professor's supposed to hear back from the university, I believe, within 10 days. So keeping that in mind, timelines for this bill.
Any other questions or comments? Senator Chuck.
Well, I think that the timeline is a bit unnecessary to talk about, considering my amendment proposes that I still would not like to reinstate him regardless of whether or not the bill passes.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of unratifying the bill, please say aye. Aye. All those against, please say no. The motion passes to unratify the bill. We now may discuss the bill and make amendments. Are there any questions or comments regarding Senator Chugg's motion to amend section E, stop systematic practice of removing the best teachers from campus? Senator
So just for clarification purposes, like I agree with all yours, but it went very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So can we just go through them one at a time? So like the first one that we separate them. So that's the first one. Can you just
Senator Chuck, can we please have you repeat the first amendment that you would like to make?
Absolutely. So Part E claims to stop the systematic removal of the quote-unquote best teachers on campus. My issue with that is I feel uncomfortable using the word best for the reasons I mentioned. And I would like to change it to say stop the removal of teachers on campus without transparency and student engagement in the process.
Is there a second? Are there any objections? The amendment passes and it will now be changed to say stop the systematic practice of removing.
Stop the systematic removal of teachers on campus without transparency and student engagement.
Senator Chuck, can you please repeat that one more time?
Yeah. Stop the systematic removal of sorry, I'm blind, so I can't really see what you're typing.
So stop the systematic removal of.
Yeah, stop the systematic removal of teachers on campus without transparency and student engagement in the process.
Any other questions or comments? Senator Bruce?
Just to kind of agree on that note. So if I am correct, I think it was originally a quote from Professor Carter's letter. So the quotes should not necessarily be there anymore, actually. If anyone has info on that.
We will check the footnotes as well. Any other questions, comments, amendments? Senator Judge.
Yeah, I'd also like to vote on the other two changes that I brought up.
Could you please repeat one of those changes first?
Yes. So Part F, where it calls to reinstate Howard, for the reasons I mentioned, I feel uncomfortable reinstating him.
What would you like to amend that to?
Oh, I wouldn't like to amend it, I'd just like to remove the clause.
Is there a second? Any objections? Senator Murrow.
I'm open to the idea of amending this in some way, shape, or form. I don't necessarily know if a total redaction of this clause is necessary. I understand that there are concerns about the idea of calling for the immediate reinstatement. I think if there were concerns about his previous relationships with the union, I think the union is calling for a reinstatement of him. I don't know for sure, but I think it's important that, I don't like the idea of completely getting rid of that paragraph if there's a problem about the immediate reinstatement. I would say maybe less strong words than are currently there or something. I don't know.
Senator Paul?
I just propose rewording it to maybe call for the immediate fair and impartial review of his performance. So it's not a reinstatement, but it's calling for a review.
Do you have a motion on the table already? Senator Banks?
I just wanted to affirm Anshul because a lot of my community felt the same way. And thank you for being brave enough to say on the same floor. Compromise, as opposed to popular opinion. I appreciate that.
So we do have a motion on the floor that Senator Trump has proposed. We can go later on to Senator Paul's amendment as well. So there is a motion on the floor to strike clause F of the immediate reinstatement of Dr. Coward. There was a second. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. There was no majority, so we are going to move. I'm going to restate the motion, which is to take out immediately reinstate Dr. Coward's employment until a fair and impartial review of his performance is conducted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say no. The motion fails. The motion fails, and we will now be moving that to discussion. Senator Paul, would you like to give your amendment?
Yeah. So I motion to amend section F to be immediate, fair, and impartial review of his performance.
Is there a second?
A second.
Are there any objections? The amendment passes with unanimous consent. It is now saying immediately conduct a fair and impartial review of his performance is conducted. Great. Are there any other comments, questions, or concerns? Senator Chuck?
Yeah, so last one. I'd like to also remove the clause about, at least clause number 2, I think, where it demands the EVP president and AAVP and request them to attend further meetings to support the reinstatement of Howard. Because we are also not officially supporting reinstating him, I think that clause is also rendered irrelevant.
Which clause?
I think it was number 2. I can't see from here, but when I read it, it was number 2.
Would you please repeat your comments?
Yeah. So I would just like to say that I don't think we should be expecting or pressuring our executives to attend further meetings on Howard's behalf.
Is that a motion?
A motion to remove the clause, yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any objections? Senator Prasad? It is clause 2B. No. Senator Chuck, are you referring to Senator 2A or 2B? I know you don't have it in front of you. Section 2A, please, is drafted and sent a letter on behalf of the association, which is referring to the academic affairs vice president and the 2B is introducing a motions and resolutions on behalf of the association.
Yeah, so that would be Part A because I don't think that we should be drafting letters in support of power. I would be open to amending it to draft letters to support open transparency in the process, but not on behalf of reinstating power.
Are there any objections? The motion on the table is actually to remove 2A, so is there a second?
Wait, can we just read it once again?
Yes.
As you all are reading, the motion is to remove the section 2A. Again, that is a motion, and then if you all disagree on that, we could amend it afterwards. Senator Church.
Can we see 2B as well?
If you can't read it, you're also welcome to come forward.
Point of inquiry.
Oh, Senator Judy.
Was this, Senator Chuck, was this, so did you want to, because when you talked, I assume that you said that execs are going to be going to meetings, these meetings, but this just says that this is a letter being sent. Can you speak on this again one more time, because I'm confused. Yeah, so just to follow up on that, I was referring to the letters and the additional meetings that could come as a result of them. I don't think that our execs should be spending time going to meetings on this matter because I don't support reinstating power.
Senator Wynn?
I think, for Samaya, I think she's referring to that top paragraph of number 2, not A or B, that top paragraph.
Yeah.
Senator Chuck, would you please restate your amendment?
Okay. So I would like to officially remove that top part of 2. I would not like to amend it. I would like to remove it for the reasons that I stated. So all of 2 because it would render everything else irrelevant.
So the amendment is to remove point 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any objections? Senator Burns.
So I think because we amended the first part to say, like, to advocate for more transparency and accountability, I think that then that would change to voice concerns, i.e. of transparency and accountability, which I think, given the rest of the amendment, it makes more sense now. It wouldn't necessarily be advocating for power reinstatement, not necessarily. It would not be advocating for power reinstatement, it would be advocating for more transparency and accountability. I think just this is like the actual actionable part of it, and having the actual ASUC sentence that like advocate on behalf of this. Sorry, I'm super tired. I cannot talk tonight. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. Like I said, I'm open to amending it to pressure for transparency on behalf of the administration, but I don't think that this clause is specifically necessary because we kind of already said it in the other clause.
Can we just reread the other clause? The first clause where we changed it. And can you go up to the action item that starts this clause? So my objection would still be that we call on the University of California, but the second clause still says how we're going to do that specifically. And I think, like, again, I also do not necessarily support his statement, so I think that it just adds like tangible action items to the first part of this. And without paying for it. But it gives more details how to do. So that's my objection to
Anyone else? Senator Trump?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying in terms of like the tangible action points, but I would say that I don't think the whole idea of drafting letters is the best way to go about it, and especially not putting that pressure onto the execs, given their busy schedules already, and given the fact that I think that we have other matters that are more pressing to their attention at the moment. And I think this bill already shows that we're in support of transparency. So I don't know how
if a senator in question from one of the 20 of us took that burden on and then sent it to the execs for approval instead of the execs having to write the letters themselves.
Yeah, I mean, if one adult is up to doing that, I have no issue with that.
Senator Paul?
Could we go, I'm sorry, and see number 2 again, just to see where the letters are getting sent and like kind of have a discussion and just think critically about like the relevance of like some of these. I think that's also consider that.
So please take a moment to read through 2A as to where the letter will be sent. And when you have a comment, question, or concern, please raise your hand. Senator Chuck. As a follow-up, Senator Paul.
Because we already have a motion on the floor, okay?
The motion on the floor is to remove 2. Senator Cho.
So I still have a concern with 2B then, where, or not, the body of 2, where we're asking the executives to attend meetings, again, on this issue, which,
I believe you're referring to section 2. Take all necessary actions, or 2A?
The 2, the body of 2, where take any necessary actions necessary to officially voice the concerns contained in this resolution to the use Berkeley Senate and University Administration and any relevant Senate or University committees.
Senator Hassan?
Yeah, that's a good comment. But I see this no different than any other ASUC stance in the matter. It's just once the ASUC takes on an official stance on an issue, all the execs, all the senators have sort of embodied that stance in a way. So this is just calling on them to reaffirm and be very clear that once this passes, not that necessarily that you have to attend extra meetings on this issue particularly, but in meetings that overlap with this issue, that you bring it up and make it a concern, because it is a concern and many students have voiced this concern on this campus. And as student representatives from this populace, we should do our best to represent the wishes of the student body.
I would like to make 2 suggestions. So we do have an amendment on the table to strike out section 2, so you will be able to vote on that. If you vote yes, 2 will be taken out, and then you can then move on to actually adding a clause if you would like. Or you could not vote yes to strike out 2 and then amend section 2. So you do have 2 options there. Senator Cho?
May we request a roll call vote?
Yes? Is there a second?
Second.
We will now, are there any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Just to...
Senator Morrow?
I think it is important that we understand that a lot of these groups do have a say in the ultimate decision. There is a big faculty administrative bureaucracy, and pointing obviously to there. I understand the concerns of many people about kind of past situations with Professor Coward, but again, he is actually working with union representatives currently. They're supporting him. So keep that in mind. I do understand that there are concerns that we are taking executive workload on. I would love to hear from the executives about how that might influence their day-to-day, given what has been said from different senators here, or even with the Attorney General, if he understands what exactly is implicit in this. Thank you.
So I am not an executive that is named on it, so I'm going to pass it over to Attorney General Clement and then President Bishop.
So it is, just if you look back at historically, those bills that have passed by ASUC Senate, and even bills that are introduced like in this session or this year, one's on new business tonight, one's on passed by Senate before. It's very standard to just call on the president and any relevant vice presidents to voice the opinion expressed by the bill itself. Oftentimes, the Senate meeting about the bill, writes the letter for the executive, and then the executive sends it out. Even if you look at the bills that are on new business tonight, several of them state that same process. So just historically, that's an issue that's been brought up about the additional workload with kind of these small schools.
President Bishop. So as far as workload goes, it's not necessarily more workload. It's usually the execs are not the ones who usually write letters, because we don't necessarily know the intent of the letter to be written. So we leave that up to the senator who write the letter, and then we would edit it to be more so in our language, and then send it out. My only concern is that we are making our decision based on, like, as an association, based on one-sided story. So I just caution the Senate class to be wonderful in the way you analyze this, because when you send out a letter, whether it's through the exec or whether it's through the Senate office, it is with understanding that it is as an association at large, and so we're going to faculty members pleading our case, and so it would just not necessarily be this one, if we have not double-checked all of our sources and answers before we make these claims.
Senator Banks.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit, I guess, frustrated because, like, folks are saying, like, everyone, like, if we pass this, that means, like, all of our communities agree, like, we're sending a letter in support, and it's been expressed, like, a bunch of times that that's not the case. Like, I know that he's working with union reps, but then there's also union reps that have had experiences that I've talked to personally, and, like, other folks that I've talked to about this, so, like, if we decide to do this, like, I just want y'all to be cognizant that not everybody agrees with this. So if we send a letter in support of this, like, it's just not gonna look, well, it's not gonna look good on me, because I talked to these folks, and, I talked to you perfect offline about it, and then we, like, didn't really get a full conversation going, but I apologize for the late with this. But, like, just keep that in mind, like, it's super frustrating to come to this table and feel silence about this. Again, historically, always been silence, and I'm here now, so I'm not about to be silenced.
Senator Burns.
Again, I think it's just important, like, I'm really glad that we're hearing from all the execs, and thank you, AB, to recognize that a letter that is sent as the bill is now will not be in support of our treaty statement. It'll just be in support of, like, yeah, it says the rest of the bill, or like, the concerns contained in this resolution, but as it stands now, I think that means more transparency and, like, accountability within the faculty. So I think the argument about the motion forward is whether or not it's productive to send a letter, I guess, or to send letters to all those people.
I would just like to bring to attention the title of the bill. Senator Chubb.
Definitely fair point. The title of the bill definitely is not what I'm in support of. And I would also like to add, going off of Alana, if we pass a bill like this, that would be completely disrespectful to all of the professors in the past who have been fired for unreasonable or untransparent means, who have not had the opportunity to have the ASUC support them or pass a bill about them, or have execs go attend meetings or draft letters on their behalf. I find that very disrespectful. I find that silencing and invisibilizing teachers in the past who could be quote-unquote best teachers in other people's opinions. That word is very subjective. And I'd also like to add that if we pass this bill and if we completely remove Measure 2, that would just mean that we're in support of calling for the transparency on behalf of the administration. Those words are already in the bill according to the amendment that we just passed, so I don't think that we need to be like adding more words about that if it's just repeating the same thing. Also, in regards to drafting letters to the administration about transparency, this bill is the ASUC's stance on transparency. We don't need to say that here's a letter talking about what we just passed. Like, no, we just passed it.
Senator Prasad.
So I do want to take into account, and Mayor Troy touched up on this, like, we are the Associated Students of the University of California, and the reason this professor's case is so unique in a manner is because this is a professor who sort of resonated with the students he taught. And while this is come under some criticism from both sides of this willingness to stay outside the picket line. If you read the letter he sent out to the students, it was full support of their education. So he didn't cross it for his own personal greed or interest to be continued to be paid. He took that sort of risk on so the students would get an education worthy of this institution. So I would just be cognizant of that because a lot of students do vocally support this factor.
Senator Adrianson.
So I just want to express my support for Senator Shuck's amendments. I think they're really important right now. I do want to thank Dr. Coward for coming in and explaining your side. Unfortunately, we really have only heard one side on this, and so for the associated students, it's really important that we maintain that this is about transparency. This isn't about taking a stance on this until we've seen the full picture. We want to make sure that we're continuing to have a local presence and respect among the administration on campus. We can't leap out into the deep end on an issue that we really don't know much about and get swept up in social media frenzy. I do want to thank the Daily Colic and Senior Editorial Board that nailed it on the head, to be honest. This really is about transparency, and thank you, Dr. Coward, for bringing up that fact.
I would like to call Dr. Coward as a witness, so if you would like to come speak to one of the microphones, you can come up here. You will have the opportunity to. So there is a timer because any time that we pull the bill, there is a 30-minute timer. So if there's anyone that would like to motion to extend time before Dr. Coward speaks, Senator Trump.
I move to extend time by 15 minutes.
Is there a second? Second. Any objections? Time is extended by 15 minutes. Please go ahead, Dr. Coward.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. So I've heard that I think there are two things that are coming up. The first is my position on new activity and an email that I wrote in November 2013. I think that's what we talked about. So the context of that email was it was a Tuesday, and I was writing to my students. They got up in the morning, I sat down, I wrote an email, and there was a strike the next day. And I started writing an email. And it was originally going to be thinking, am I going to cancel class or not? I was sort of not sure. I was kind of on the fence a little bit about it. And if I'd been, I think I ended up writing 2,200 words. And the reason I would write 2,200 words is precisely because I was sort of on the fence about it. And looking back, it would have been better to actually just write a one-line email saying, I'm not cancelling class, but if you don't want to come, that's fine. And then put the other 2,200 words of education, like put it in a separate email. But that's not what I did. And I didn't know that I didn't know that somebody would put it on Facebook. I didn't know that somebody, having seen it on Facebook, would have put it onto Imgur. And I didn't know that somebody, having seen it on Imgur, would have put it into the daily in hot days up on the channel online and everything. So I didn't know that this was going to happen. I'm not going to cancel you. Yeah, I mean, I know it looks like that, but I'm really sorry. I apologize. I apologize for that. And yeah, so that's the first thing. The second thing is basically I agree with a lot of what you're saying, right? I'm not entirely sure that you should be passing a bill in support of one particular lecturer in one particular department, right? The whole thing that I wrote on Sunday the 11th was not about one particular lecturer in one particular department. That's not the point. The point is that your education is being neglected in a systematic way, and it's not good enough. And it happens to be the case that I've been extremely poorly treated, right? But I'm 33 years old, and I'm okay, right? The significant is not, everybody's had the experience of, what exactly is it that I'm blowing the whistle? Everybody's had the experience of being in class and there's being some poor professors, right? And you think to yourself, well, gosh, that's too bad, right? And And actually what I'm trying to shine the light on is the fact that this isn't entirely an accident. It's not entirely an accident. There are aspects of interdepartmental politics that mean that the poor education that we receive in too many places is entrenched and sustained because people have an interest in making it so. And that is really deserving of a lot of attention. So again, I was expecting to make myself permanently in higher education, and I have to go and get a job not in university. And actually, as it happens, it's not like that. Actually, there are plenty of other, there's actually another UC that's in the middle of the you should apply, right? And actually, I don't really need a great deal of support. So I think the thing that the ASUC should be doing, I really hope should be doing, is that there needs to be a very bright spotlight shone into what's going on inside the mathematics department of this university. And part of shining that spotlight on it is you should not just take my word for it, right? It's a matter of public record that I've requested my confidentiality being waived, and working with multiple people, including journalists, to get CP. I mean, if you can publish CP promotion, the university should speak. One thing you should demand a response, right? It's not good enough to be done at one time. So why is it that point? They won't do it, right? So anyhow, I should talk too long, but I do thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
You can sit up table. Are there any? I'd actually like to bring the conversation back to what the current amendment is, which is to remove point 2. Mark, if you could please scroll down. So the amendment is to remove point 2. Again, I would like to restate 2 suggestions that I would like to make to the Senate is that if you vote yes on this amendment, it would be taking away point 2 completely. You then have the floor to discuss the bill further, which means that you could make a new clause if you would like to replace point 2. Or you could vote no on the amendment, which means that you can then vote no on the amendment to take the point 2 away, and then you can make a new amendment to rephrase or amend point 2. Are there any questions, comments? Senator Mark.
Keeping in mind that deleting that entire phrase would make it very long and difficult to edit that, if that's what people are wanting to do, I'd make sure to consider that. And maybe with the idea that if we don't support this amendment, then after that we could have an amendment changing all things to be, even include the title in support of transparency in the mathematics department.
Senator Chung?
I would steer away from using the phrase mathematics department just because I feel like, as Professor Howard mentioned, this isn't just about one department, one professor, this is about the administration and being transparent in general.
Senator Vicente?
And I just want to ask that UC Berkeley has been hiding a lot of sexual harassment cases and different departments. So I just feel like you shouldn't just focus on one department and multiple professors.
I'd like to just take a straw poll vote. Are you all comfortable with voting on Senator Chugg's amendment? Please raise your hand if you are comfortable at this point, and we can move forward. Okay, thank you. That is a majority. So we will now be moving on to the motion to delete point 2, as moved by Senator Chugg. It was requested that this be a roll call vote, so we will now be moving
Just a
roll call vote. Senator Bassan.
The motion to end debate is a 2/3, not a majority. To close debate into a vote.
If there is no one else that has any more to debate, we can close this discussion. No one else has debate, so we will now move on to roll call vote. John, are you ready? So the motion on the table is to delete section 2 on SR 21. Anshul Chugg.
Yes.
Alicia Lau.
Yes.
Benedict Yahweh.
Yes.
Fatima Salinas.
No.
Karthik Prasad.
No.
Rachel Schuster. Sheena Paul.
Yes.
Sumaya Dean. Will Mara. Alana Bates.
Yes.
Andre Liu.
Yes.
Boomer Vicente.
Yes.
Diana Nguyen. Jason Tang.
Yes.
Kathy Tran. Rita Cho.
Yes.
Wes Adrianson.
Yes.
Zoe Drew.
No.
That amendment passes with majority. Clause 2 has been taken out. Are there any other people that would like to speak or amend the bill? Senator Morales.
I would like to consider amending the bill to kind of read similar to how it had read before, but in relation to all faculty hiring and termination decisions, as that appears to be the primary concern, but it's also recognizing that we do have an important role to play as students in advocating as such, and we should not back down from having our voice heard on that matter.
Senator Cho.
So I would have some concerns about such an amendment, especially since the last clause that we had specified that our executives will be attending specific meetings, which in our case we don't have these specific meetings, letters with specific reason. I would still be allowed to support that, or to send even just a copy of this bill to those relevant, but I think we should rewrite the entire clause, because I don't believe that the clause that we just created is perfectly relevant.
Senators, we do have about 5 minutes on the time, so we have a couple of options. We can extend time, or we can send this back to the committee. These are two options that you can consider. Any other senators that want to speak? Senator Dean.
I think this should be sent back to Kim.
Is that a motion?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were discussing this one.
Oh, if you would like to make a motion, you can.
I motion as R21 to be sent back to committee. We're spending way too time on the Senate floor. Huh? The government. XCOM. To XCOM, right? Wasn't it going through XCOM?
No, this bill was put on the floor by Senator Rashidi last week to expedite the process, but it was passed briefly, so it has come back to Senate to be ratified or unratified, which was unratified today. But it would go to XCOM in this situation.
Okay, well, I motion as R21 to go to XCOM because we have to make a lot of amendments and there's a lot of discussion, and I think even the title of the bill itself will be changed now. So instead of discussing that here on the Senate floor, I definitely think that this bill should have been sent to XCOM before it was sent to the Senate floor. Yes, can I get a second?
Was there a second? What, are there any objections? Senator Martin?
Keeping in mind, I have a midterm first thing tomorrow morning. I still am objecting to the idea that we are sending this back to committee on the basis that we're worried about time to do this, considering that one of the considerations of this originally was that there's a certain amount of time being done associated with one particular teacher who is dealing with the situation. I understand that this is no longer about one particular lecturer, but with an understanding that there is an issue of transparency right now that will be decided before this bill would then pass in this situation. I would really like folks to consider, even if they like amending the title, amending other things, that's fine, but doing that tonight.
Senator Adrianson?
I agree. I think we should. I'm happy with the bill as it is, except for the title, which I would like to amend.
So we do have a motion on the table to send it back to XCOM. We have instructions. Are there anyone else who would like to make comments and pertain?
I'd like to go back to XCOM because I feel uncomfortable making amendments without also being here. Students not here, and like there's a reason why I put every single clause in this bill, and I'm making a lot of amendments, changing the name of the bill. So I feel like it would be better if students would be there and to make amendments, and that's how I support saying that.
Senator Bates.
And now that we are just wanting to put pressure in the spotlight on the mathematics department, besides a specific case, we can always do that, and we can after whenever the urgency fades, we can always, and I hope y'all's activists plan to always press on that and always shine light on the mathematics department, pass this bill, pass all of this. So if it goes back to XCOM, it would be great so that everybody, including Senator Rashidi, can add more amendments that everybody agrees with, and it would just be a perfect little bill, and it would pass with the consent, and it would be great if it goes back to XCOM and figure it out. But as it stands, folks are going to be happy, there's uneasy feelings, you have a midterm, don't fail or anything, so.
Senator Cho?
I subject for the same reason as Senator Gibson. I'm happy with the bill as it is.
Senator Schuster? Is there a second? Second. Any objections? The time is extended by 10 minutes? Or 5 minutes, sorry. Attorney Clement, or Senator Dean.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that so as it stands, the bill is not cohesive. We're not, you can tell that there's two different things that we're trying to discuss. One is in support of Dr. Alexander Coward, and most of the clauses in the bill, whereas Dr. Coward states, whereas Dr. Coward's mathematics states, whereas Dr. Coward's if we're talking about transparency within all departments, we can use it as a specific case, but it just doesn't make sense to me, and it's not cohesive in the language that it is right now. That's why I was asking for it to be sent back to XCOM.
Senator Cho?
So I do feel like we are going in circles, but I would like to second what Wes and Senator Reyes said. I think that I'm completely comfortable passing the bill if we just motion to amend the title. So, yeah, I don't think that it's necessary to send it back to XCOM. I feel like this is something we can do tonight.
Senator Yave?
I think it's important that this bill is sent back to XCOM because, for example, we're talking about how there are other professors' lectures that were let go and that was not as publicized. For example, the SCOM professor that was let go in spring, I think she identified as a woman of color, and the fact that this is not being given context, for example, in the whereas clause, in the clause 1, it refers specifically to Dr. Coward. I would like that context is given in the whereas clauses to make it more than just about one person, rather about the lack of, and make it about the lack of transparency in this removal. So I move to the previous question to bring the bill to XCOM.
Second.
Any objections? We'll now be moving into roll call vote. The motion on the table is to send this bill back to XCOM.
Yes.
Alicia Lapp.
Yes.
Benedict Galvin.
Yes.
Cosimo Salinas.
Yes.
Arthur Prasad.
Yes.
Rachel Schuster. Please speak into the mic. Sumaya Dean.
Yes.
Will Morrow.
No.
Alana Bates.
Yes.
Andre Liu.
Yes.
Boomer Vicente.
No.
Diana Nguyen.
Yes.
Jason Tang.
Yes.
Kathy Tran.
Yes.
Rita Cho.
No.
Wes Avenson.
Yes.
Zoe Bruns.
Yes.
The motion passes. This bill has now been sent back to XCOM. Moving on to new business. We now FR9, which we sent to FICOM, SR24, in support of the creation of a fair election public campaign financing system in the city of Berkeley. That will be sent to XCOM. I apologize, the computer died. Pull up the bills. SR25, in support of Justice for UC Workers campaign, which we sent to XCOM. SR26, in opposition to the proposed group living accommodation ordinance and condemning the city's lack of outreach to students. XCOM. SR27, in support of maintaining global health initiative funding, which will be sent to XCOM. SR28, no confidence in the University of California, Berkeley's adjudication and disciplinary process regarding cases of faculty sexual violence and harassment towards students, which we sent to XCOM. The nominations will go to the consent calendar, and moving on to announcements. Today, we will start with Senator Cruz.
Rachel and I went to a CERT committee meeting, that's redundant, a CERT meeting on Friday, and we've been meeting every weekly up until Halloween because it's going to be such, I was going to say, it's a good day this weekend. It's a risk heavy weekend. And as you know, the game has officially been set to 12:30 on Saturday, which is good and bad, depending on how you look at it. But I'm sure Senator Moore will tell you all about his super fun summer event. So, anyway, if you have anything that you think could be brought up, we are making a lot of ideas on how to make that weekend safer, especially because we'll have so many USC students up here. So, we're going to have a meeting this Friday and a meeting this Friday before Halloween. So, let us know.
Hi everyone. So my office is working on a political engagement bill around the voting holidays. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, we will probably introduce it next week or the week after that. I'm really excited about a lot of hard work going into that. President Obama canceled a bunch of Arctic oil drilling permits. That's great. On Saturday, my office is going to be co-sponsoring Harvest Day at the UC Dual Track Community Farm. It's a really exciting opportunity to help support food security on campus. Actually, all of the produce harvested will be brought back to the food pantry, and they're developing systems so that they can help let folks know how to cook some of these vegetables, because some of them are a little bit weird. Not everyone's familiar with kale, right? But also, I just want to encourage everybody to focus on self-care this week. There's a lot of interns, a lot of papers. Love you all.
Hey everyone, I don't have that many updates because I was out of town for quite a bit, but we had a meeting with STFC, the Student Check Fee Committee, which Senator Posada and I keep talking about. The application for the short-term fund is this Friday. That has a budget limit of $5,000. Please do not, I don't recommend applying if your project costs more than $5,000 and you do not have an alternative way of funding the rest of the money. If you have such a project, please wait until, I believe, March for the year-long cycle, which has no limit on the project costs. So please consider that. In terms of my office, we're still checking along. Most of our programming is in the spring. We're working with the EDP's office for a beginning of spring event, STEM Day, part 2. And we'll be reaching out to some of the clubs in my community soon. And that's all the updates I have.
So I'm really excited to finally announce this, but my office, the Senator Chet's office, in collaboration with the Bridges Multicultural Resource Center, with the collaboration of Ross, the Permanent Retention Center, and MSU, the Mixed Student Union, we're hosting something called Body Love Week. And the reason why there's so many collaborators is that we noticed that a lot of the marginalized and students of color communities are already doing a lot of self-healing and self-care love type of events the next 2 weeks. So we just kind of consolidate everything, put it in one umbrella, and so hopefully this will motivate people to go to each other's spaces. And so I'll be sending out the flyer with the help of CCO. Thank you so much for the flyer. But it starts this Saturday with Plaza Cares, our inaugural event. So the purpose of the body love week is to kind of shed light on sometimes there's a stigma into going to spaces and asking about for resources, whether it's through the food pantry or whether it's through getting counseling. And so this is a safe space for dialogue. And we are working, there's something going to be there, there's going to be an event every day from Saturday to Sunday. And the last event is a Love Yours open mic, yes, J4 reference, on Friday, October 30th. And then the following day is the fall celebration of Asian Pacific American Women. So Superdome collaborative event with a lot of communities of color. I'll post it in the Senate group right now and release the Facebook event tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello everyone, so no real announcements from me, but I'm just having more bio and community easily meeting and I'm just doing
Hi everyone, so I just want to say thank you to folks in XCOM that passed the computer bill. So with that, we're looking to see donate some of their imperfect foods to either the food pantry or another nonprofit. Shout out to groups that apply to public service fund. It closes in a month, I think. Wes and I sit on that, so if you know a group that needs extra money, reach out to that. And then just let all know public service center moved to the new freshman space for 218. It was really cool. If you can, drop by.
Hello, so me, the SAO designee, the AVP designee sat down and we looked through all the applications for the financial wellness task force. We got a bunch, they all super cool, all coming from all sorts of different backgrounds, and so we ended up choosing 10 people. So we had a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 15, but we chose 10 because we felt like those people were most qualified and passionate about financial wellness and from all sorts of different backgrounds, so that's really cool. Ethnicity, gender, everything, grade level, so it was really great. They all had different interests related to financial wellness. So we have our first meeting tomorrow, so I'm super excited for that. That's it.
Hey y'all. So I just wanted to aware y'all of what's going on in the community. So in the beginning, we were promised all demographics, and it's kind of not really happening. So kind of things. But so if you want to help with that movement or participate in anything about that, just let me know, and I'll be glad to facilitate. Peace.
So I have 2 announcements of different times. First, I'm saying I'm a little bit disappointed in all of you. It's 9:30. Last year, there were multiple meetings that went until midnight. I have a midterm tomorrow. I have a research paper due this week. But when there's something that's happening in the campus community, we have an obligation to act on it. And considering that there is a timeline associated with this, I understand all the amendments, and truthfully, I supported them all. I supported the idea of them. I would have supported being here for a couple more hours, hammering out this bill, so that we can put something forward. You all are going to have to, respond to students who ask tomorrow, when they see what's ever printed in the newspaper, why this bill was sent back. This is an illustration in many ways of what a lot of the students outside of this institution see as the problems with it. This is bureaucracy, to be honest. You have to understand that obviously Professor Coward is probably not the only professor going through this right now. He's the person who spoke up, but there's assuredly other professors who are undergoing contract review right now, who this bill could have been a help of support. When administrators see tomorrow that we weren't able to take a stance even on fair and open transparency in contract review processes, that looks bad on us. Now, again, I completely understand the concerns about having this be with one person, and I actually appreciate Senator Chuck bringing those up. I think those would have been fair concerns to all go through and change up and whatnot. Because I do understand that this is not about one professor. But this is about an opportunity where we as students could have stood up in support of professors who care about students. Obviously, Professor Coward is not the only one. Obviously, there's these other professors that were mentioned who did not get the same spotlight. This was our chance not only to stand up for Professor Coward, but actually to have our voice amplified for these professors. And instead, we chose to go to sleep at 9:30 p.m. Or it'll probably be 10 p.m. when people go home. So for me, that's my concern. Again, I'm happy that at least there was not, the bill didn't get failed, but I'm a little bit annoyed that it got sent back to committee when there is a distinct timeline associated with this process. My other announcement, totally different tone. My event that Zoe or Senator Bruins alluded to is happening on Halloween, starting 10 o'clock. It has support of a lot of different groups, Party Safe at Cal. It sounds like Vice Chancellor LeGrand and President DeJean are going to be sending out a letter about this event to not only Cal students, but also USC students. I'm going to be sharing an email with all of you, inviting you all to share, inviting performance groups to come perform at this event, so that we can have as much of the student spectrum represented in this event to get as many people to come. The Facebook event has been posted. I'm going to be blasting it out tomorrow during the UCLA football game. Whoop whoop, we're playing UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Everybody's going, go be safe, and go Bears.
Hi everybody. So I guess 2 announcements. You really can't. We met with the NVCP for the Center for Race and Gender, and it's like 2-part successful in that he decided to suspend his decision for 2 weeks regarding the center itself, and so we will be meeting with him next week, and hopefully that will go. He's willing, he realized that he has nominal information about the center itself, and kind of came in with a different perspective, so hopefully he is willing to learn more about the center and what it does and why it stands where it does, and the history of the center itself. And I have been meeting with Dawn, the director for POSI, and hopefully talking about a proposal for an MSD office for SWANA, so that will be starting, and hopefully it's my baby project of the year, so hopefully send prayers my way that the Office of Equity and Inclusion does hear out that proposal and start implementing it in the next year. Thanks.
Hi, so a couple announcements. So the Assistant Director for Sexual Violence and Intimate Partner Violence Prevention started on campus today. Her name is Virginia Duplessis. She's amazing. So I could encourage you all to email her and just welcome her to campus and meet with her if you want. Going on with that, I am currently working with other board reps in the co-ops to basically form a streamlined peer education around consent. So kind of similar to Reach Against Sexual Assault, because right now co-ops have their individual consent workshops, but it'd be really great to have an overall thing for the BSC. And another thing, BSC board is meeting tomorrow in Rochville from 7 till really late. So feel free to stop by. Last thing is my bill, or the bill of no confidence in UC Berkeley's education and disciplinary process regarding cases of faculty sexual violence and harassment towards students. We'll be going to XCOM next week, so if you have any questions or concerns about the bill, feel free to talk to me. I would love it if you all could co-sponsor. Thanks.
Hi all. So this past week we had another dance board meeting and we talked about a lot of different things actually. So earlier when I talked to Sergeant Sabrina when she came in, thanks for your but he gave me a lot, and there was a lot of lighting problems on campus, and his appropriation from songs that we perform to or apparel costume that we use. Students has and Happy Women the Drill team reached out to me and asked for some support and guidance. Which was like super cool. They reached out to me, so I was really happy. I'm sitting on 2 search committees right now for advisors. One is for the health and wellness, recreation, and performing arts, and the other is the publications tech media advisors. And we're moving to the stage where the students are coming to campus now. So if you're interested in coming in and listening during the student portion, let me know. I'll give you the time, date, and location of all those. I'd love to see some of you there, especially if you resonate with publications tech media, performing arts, health and wellness, or recreation, which is what we do. So we will see you there. Also, probably the most important announcement, Party Safe is launching their Our House campaign next week. So, it's super important that if we're in the ASUC and you care about partying safe, we'll show you that.
Hi everyone, just a couple announcements. So starting off, as Senator Cho said, SCSC, deadline to apply this week. If you have any ideas, it's a great opportunity, so please reach out to one of us to sort of see if your proposal meets this criteria. Other note, I also sit on the Academic Opportunity Fund. We received the most requests from like the general campus. So unfortunately, because we have limited funding, even though we have large allocation for any grant, we still have to be a little bit more selective about the candidates we take on. So if you're reaching out to your constituents and sort of asking them to apply, please don't be shocked if they get rejected. I do apologize in advance. It's just the financial limitations of the grant. Either we could give everyone money, but it would be just very, very little money to the point where it wouldn't be pushing at all, or we had to be a little bit more selective and actually give grants and impact on lives. Just a heads up on that. Last thing, we have a finance FICOM retreat this Friday, 7 to 9. Hopefully we'll be talking about a lot of very cool issues ranging from the investment portfolio, Cal Lodge, carry forward fund. If you have strong beliefs or passions about how we should carry out those things, please let us know. This is one of the good times that we have a long conversation with ASUC Finance, and I look forward to it. So I hope to see all of you there, or your ideas. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So Senator Davis and I are planning our social number 2. Turn up. And I also know that just like you got an offer. I know you got an offer. And then also, I'm meeting with my executive director and my staff to semi-finalize my section platform, which I'm really pushing on. So I'm really excited about that. That's all the time for the next semester.
General things, still passing past deadlines. Not this Friday, but next Friday. So still continue to get your ish together as much as possible. And I would say also look into the PE classes because they count for units. You can get a letter grade for it, way to be stressed. Yeah, there's dance, and a bunch of different sports and general fitness classes. So thanks everyone.
Hey everyone, so I'm really excited to announce that me along with the student vice president of HPSA, we're going to cut or we're going to release the Haas mentorship program. Super excited about that, and the reason why it's so important is because the students are not in business clubs or do not have those connections. It's really difficult to get into Haas and also know about it. So we're going to do things like application workshops, essay workshops, and that's something that I'm super excited about. So we have about 20 mentors signed up, so if you know anyone that's in Haas that would be interested, let me know. So that's really important and exciting. And so today our office also hosted the Play Your Healthy Habits event on style, and it was really fun. And shout out to my office, I'm excited to say, thank you.
Hi folks, so I have a few updates tonight, so bear with me. First of all, like Harshal mentioned earlier today, my office is currently working on a cultural appropriation project with the Res Halls. One of the things that we're doing is we are putting posters with RHA in the different Res Halls just to remind folks what is cultural appropriation and how not to do it. Shout out to Senator Boomer for giving me resources, and also former Senator, current AAVP Melissa for also sharing resources with that. Also, we're integrating cultural appropriation into the RA floor plan so that they're talking about it with the residents, so that there's dialogue around it and that they have an understanding of what it is. And yeah, also, I definitely recommend all of you going and talking to your staff about how to not appropriate, because that's not cool. Secondly, if y'all are looking for... if y'all are looking for a safe and sober way to party on Halloween, then look no further, because RHA got you with Monster Bash in Foothill, so you should go. But the sad news is that it's not ADA accessible. That's not cool, but yeah, we're short on that. Second of all, yeah, so I've been working on the sexual assault conference and like getting the workshop brainstorming for that, and I'm really excited about that. I've been meeting with the director of the ASUC Sexual Assault Commission, Shivani, and we've been like kind of brainstorming on workshops, and that's been a really great process for me. Also, just a shout out to the commission. They're having their first meeting next Wednesday from 6 to 7:30 in Eshelman. You all should go because she conveniently did it so that we could go before Senate, and so it's really great to see y'all there. I'm also going to pass out flyers for the commission when I'm done so that y'all know when it is. Also, the Sixth Student Association and I have been organizing town halls to talk about the current protests in Punjab. It's really important that we talk about what's going on in Punjab right now. There's a lot of violence, displacement, and religious atrocities. So I've been working with SSA on that. And what else? Oh yeah, shout out to Body Love and Happy for organizing it, because it's going to be super dope. Y'all should show up. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senators. I have a couple quick announcements before you all go. Thank you, Senator Prasad. Just so you all know, when Dree and I sat on that AOF last year, we actually went to buy public extra funding because we had to reject a lot of people, and so I would just consider that. In addition to that, student groups. So if you are getting complaints from student groups regarding the new buildings, there are definitely things that need to be fixed and a lot of issues going on with the new building. Please let myself know, as well as my spaces directors. We are working to accommodate all of you, but I do recognize that there are problems. I've heard a lot of issues from you are, but we are working as fast as we can to resolve those. And space is limited. If you walk through the building, there are a lot of problems with that building and a lot of inefficient space. So we are hopefully going to get a capture grant, more tables and whatnot everywhere, because that is a much needed. In addition to that, I would just like to make a comment about not rushing bills. So y'all saw a really good reason about not rushing bills to Senate floors. It's about following a process, and when something skips committee, a lot of things are lost. And so I'd like to bring that to your attention, and please keep that in mind when you do try to bring bills directly to the Senate floor. Finally, Senate meeting will be in the Senate chambers next week. Finally finishing, hopefully the last time that you will ever have to be in Anaheim for a Senate meeting, please do not get lost. I will mark you absent if you go to the wrong building next week. So, this is my public announcement to go to the Senate chambers. Be there by 7:20. I will hopefully have all of your seating arrangements figured out by then. Moving on to roll call. Angel Chuck. Alicia Lapp. Benedict Gavin.
Here.
Karthik Prasad.
Here.
Rachel Schuster. Sheena Paul. Here. Snide. Here. Will Barnum. Alana Mays. Andre Liu.
Here.
Uber Vicente.
Here.
Diana Wood. Jason Tane.
Here.
Kathy Tran. Here. Maria Cho. Here. Wesley Johnson.
Here.
Zoe Burns. Here. I adjourn this